I'm going to tell you something, and it's really blunt, and I'm sorry.
You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. Welcome. Thank you for joining us to the Live Local Marketing Podcast today. We're with Richard. Sir, how are we feeling today?
Yeah, really good. I'm in London. The sun is out. It doesn't happen too often. So, Billy, I'm on top form.
Based on the last one we did, this is a repeat. You're coming back on, which we're excited to see. I still think I owe you a Smithix. So next time I'm in London, I do believe I owe you a beer.
I think you owe me two now, Billy, actually.
Yeah, this is two episodes. Yeah, I picked the first one. I picked Smithix, and you get to pick the second one. Because when I'm over there at Smithix, I don't know if you've ever had it over here. It tastes way different. Okay. Over in London, it tastes better. It's just good. Over here, it's like, it's okay. And so that's my go-to drink when I'm over visiting the other across the pond.
It's interesting. Mm-hmm. I haven't heard anyone say that before, that's their sort of go-to drink coming across the pond. Most of the, there's a little, how do you describe it? Like a little cafe here called Pret a Manger. It's obviously French, hence the name. And when I used to work with a lot of people from Dallas, they used to come over here and, can we go to Pret a Manger? It's like, it's not that exciting, but sure. So that was their sort of cafe of choice. I'll take you to Pret a Manger, Billy, as well. You might like that.
Okay. All right. So good. Hopefully we'll get to London soon. We'll see. And I will have to make sure we hit you up and I can get you repaid in drinks and Smithix.
Please do.
I was going to say not many Londonese turn down drinks. Yeah, that's part of the culture. It's good times. All right. So, we're going to skip the background of Richard. We're just going to hop into it because you had the background last time. We'll have some of it in description too. You'll know everything about him. He's an expert in marketing across the board. But today we're going to talk to specifically, we're going to focus on SEO strategies and the practicality of SEO strategies. Mm-hmm. But we're going to start first and foremost with the opening question, which talk to us about the first win you've ever had as an entrepreneur.
The first win has to be the first client I got as an entrepreneur. It's very easy. You start off, there is always this nervousness, isn't there, about, is anybody going to want to hire my services? And I think that's perfectly normal. So the first win is definitely that first paycheck. It wasn't for very much, but it doesn't really matter. It's a reinforcement of you have a bit of value and someone's willing to pay for it. So that's quite nice. And yeah, the first time you can add a bit of value and someone goes, gosh, you've really helped me grow my business. That's got to be the aim. So that was the first win.
What? That is a good one. And so let's talk a little bit more about the idea that you didn't, no one has ever said, I got paid enough on my first gig. I've done a lot of these episodes. No one's ever said that. Everybody said, I would underprice myself, blah, blah, blah. But that's where you start, right? You don't start by getting paid what you deserve. You get started by paying just to get started, right?
1,000,000%. And also it does two things. One, it actually sort of shows you what it's really like out there because you haven't done it before. And secondly, to build your confidence. So sometimes you get paid in different ways. I mean, there's financial ways to get paid, but there's also my first client. What do you want from that client? Maybe a referral, maybe a recommendation, maybe a testimonial. There's a lot of, everyone thinks I get paid because it has to be in financial terms. Of course you do. You've got to feed your family and yourself and you've got to live. Not knocking that at all. But there's also other ways you can get paid in, endorsements. Do they know someone who might need your services? If not now, maybe in 6 months' time, maybe there's a recommendation element to it. So there's different things from that first one or the first few that you get on your feet. I mean, go to a website and you get a glowing testimonial. What's that worth? It's genuine, it's true, and it's accurate. So, yeah.
That's good. I just want to tell people that are listening to calm down on that first gig, right? If you don't get paid what you think you deserve, that's fine. It happens. That's kind of part of it's about on par for the course, right? That's what 100%. You can expect. Yeah.
100%.
Talk to us about some of your best habits as an entrepreneur.
The best habit, Billy, is remaining focused. I tell you what, as an entrepreneur, you can be very, very busy for a lot of the time and actually look back at the end of the day, the week, the month, the year, and actually just think, what have I achieved to move my business forward? So I'm very, very focused on these are the clients I'm going after. This is how I'm going to do it. And if what I'm doing today does not help move that business forward in either getting new clients, retaining new clients, building a profile with the aim that new clients will hear what I'm saying, don't do it. So Peter Drucker, without getting too academic about it, used to say, strategy is as much what you don't do as what you do. And I think a lot of people do a lot of stuff and they don't like. Have you ever been there, right, where you try and work out who your market is, and then you say, well, it's definitely not that group, and then you have an opportunity with that group, but you've said to yourself, that's not my market, that's not where I specialize, that's not what I do. And it takes quite a lot of nerve and confidence to turn it down. But the best businesses do that. They're very focused on what they do. So I would say to anyone, get into the habit of being really, really focused. And you know, yeah, go on.
No, it's something that never stops, though, right? You're constantly doing that. So what kind of things do you do to help you get back on track when you don't, when you're a little off base?
A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
I try and set myself 3 tasks to do per day. Anything more than that, and I find it a wish list. There are 3 tasks a day that's going to help grow my business. And if I achieve that, if I start at 9 and I achieve it by 11, that's okay. Go for a walk for 2 hours and get into sunshine. If I start at 9 and it takes me to 8 p.m., so be it. Just 3 things. 3 things. What am I going to do today to help grow my business? I see people, Billy, they have 10 things to do. And I think you're never going to get past number 3. And then you'll feel bad about yourself. And that's not good.
How do you decide when you're working on something and you're doing it and it's not working, how to pivot and refocus?
Well, it's an interesting question because what's working and what's not working. So let me give you a clue. Let me give you an example. So I do a newsletter that goes out every 2 weeks. I think you're lucky or unlucky enough, depending on your point of view.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Right? Just ask Richard, right? So a business owner writes into me and says, this is my problem. How would I solve it? And I try and keep it to like a 6 or 7 minute read and this kind of good stuff, right? So I've been doing this now for about 6 months. So what's that? 24 versions have gone out, give or take.
Yeah.
For the first 20, you get nothing back. And you actually feel like, Billy, is this just going into a hole and no one's really reading it and all that kind of stuff? And then people start saying, hey, I read your thing 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago. I thought it was interesting. Or you see it suddenly being forwarded to other people and they say, hey, you should have a read of this, right? So don't be in a rush to say something's not working. Things take time. And I think, you know, one of the pressures we're all under is we want immediacy. I want to do something on the Monday and get the results on the Tuesday. If you do that as an entrepreneur, I think you're going to get very frustrated very quickly. There's a long game to play and a short game to play. And the short game is what are the opportunities that are around now, and the long game is building those opportunities for coming around in 6 or 9 months. So think both. In what you and I do, Billy, I hate to tell you this because it's an awful stat, but it's true. 95% of the people in the market are not in the market today for your services, but they might be in the next year to 18 months. So how are you going to, you either focus on the 5% who are in the market now, everyone's going after those people, narrow market, difficult. You've got to get some of them, incidentally, otherwise you haven't got a business. But don't forget the 95% who aren't in the market today, because they're the people who are in the market next month, next 6 months, next 9 months, next year. And you want them to think Billy's my person.
Yep. Yes, and that's a great answer. So, and I think it actually moves right into the next question perfectly. So the next one is, what is a truth about marketing that you wish everybody understood?
I'm going to tell you something, and it's really blunt, and I'm sorry.
No,
but you should frame this on your wall. Nobody gives a shit about your brand other than you, right?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you and I did not do what we do, we disappeared tomorrow, no one is sitting there going, oh, if only Richard was offering marketing consultancy services, if only Billy was Champion Framework, right? No one cares, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And this comes about when world events happen. So when we had COVID, and I had all these brands emailing me going, oh, it's COVID, I hope you're safe. I'm thinking, I don't need to hear from my chocolate provider what their views on COVID are, right? It's just clogging up my inbox, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, no one cares, right?
Yeah.
Where they do care, Billy, is if you give them something that is value that impacts them in their life, of real value. Don't try and sell to me. Just give me value. So this is absolutely nothing to do with me. I have no vested interest in it. But there's a newsletter I get from a company called Exit 5, which is B2B marketing. I read their newsletter because it adds value to me, right? Now,
okay.
When my business does well, I will then subscribe. I'll become a subscriber, right? So I'm waiting. But that's what I mean by playing the long game. They're sending me the stuff and they're probably thinking, if they were going down to the level, oh, Richard's not doing anything. He opens it, but then he doesn't do anything. Yeah? But what I'm doing is I'm exactly doing something with that. I'm just waiting for the moment I need their service. But they're providing me value the whole time. Value that's interesting to me. So that's how they're making their brand important. 99% of brands are sending me stuff that's so irrelevant to me. It's like,
yeah, it's garbage.
It irritates me.
Yeah.
That's the marketing truth. No one really cares about your brand. Sorry.
No,
I'm really excited.
Only you do. That's good. That's true. It's true.
Yeah,
I do. Well, I want to get my Smithics, so I care about your branding. Yeah. I've got some commitment in this. I got some skin in the game, you know?
No, I mean maybe clients who I've made money for, they care about my brand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. What part of the process do you still do hands-on when you meet with clients? What part are you handing off to a team or AI?
Yeah, it's a good question. So look, the strategic stuff is what I do. So that's not rocket science, but it's real clarity. It's clarity, right? Who are we talking to? Where are we in the market? Who are our real competitors? How are we different from them? What segment are we going after? How do we price it? What's our distribution channel? Are we going direct? Are we going through somebody else? Right, all that kind of stuff. So you then set the business up for success. That could be a business that's been going 6 days, 6 months, 6 years. It doesn't really matter, right? The principles are the same. Have we actually gone out and spoken to the market? Have we talked to customers that like us, customers that don't like us? Have we just taken a few steps back? Most businesses think they know it all, especially founders. This is a founder's disease I'm finding. I was speaking to a founder last week, man, he didn't need to talk to a customer because he knew everything. Well, I guarantee one thing, if he talked to a customer, they would have a different view to what he's telling me because he's too biased. Yeah, sure. I refer it to people and I say, it's a bit like, I have 2 daughters, Billy. My 2 daughters are the brightest, prettiest, wittiest, funniest people you'll ever meet, right? That's what I think.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what you think. You're right.
Right? I'm right for me. But everyone thinks that about their own kids, right? And it's a bit like everyone thinks that about their own company. That's my point, right? About what I offer. How come no one realize how good my offering is, right? And so what I do is I get involved in that early stage to say, let's just be realistic. Let's be honest. What are the challenges? Where are we going? What are we trying to do? Why is growth stalled? And often it's not, Billy, let's just do more. And that's the thing of, one more email or one more message or one more communication. That's not often the problem. So let's just come back. And then I hand off the tactical side to someone else. I don't know how to run an Instagram campaign or a TikTok campaign. Those experts that do, but I can give them the guidance and give them the frameworks that then help them do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'll refer to folks like yourself as the forest ranger, whereas the business is sitting in the middle of the trees and you guys show them the way. Like they know they're in a forest and they know that at some point they have to get back to their cabin, but they don't know how. Yeah. And people like you hop in there and like, well, just take 2 lefts, take a right, and I'll show you exactly where to go.
That's exactly a really good analogy. So I'll show them the route, and someone else will hold their hand doing the route with them. Yeah, that's a really good.
And don't eat the poison berries. That's it. You know, don't eat the poison berries. Make sure you don't get eaten by a bear, and the cabin's right over there.
Definitely don't get eaten by a bear or eat the berries. Right there, you go. But you know, in business terms, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Right? Don't compete against so and so. Don't price it at that. Don't go for that distribution channel. Okay? I've been there where people are trying to sell their product one by one, and I'm thinking, why don't you just go to a distributor? And they go, I don't want to pay them the 20% margin. I'm saying, but if they bring you in the money and you get to keep 80% of it, that might be a lot more rewarding than going direct to the consumer yourself. So there's different ways you can think about it.
Yep. All right. So we talked a little bit about it before we hit record too, but let's talk budgeting. Let's talk about SEO budgeting when there is no budget. There isn't. So what kind of things are we talking about? What kind of things can we do when there is no budget? There's no money.
You know, Billy, let me use my business as an example. I have very little money, right, to spend on my marketing. And every penny I spend is a penny less than my business has the next day, or every cent, or every dollar, right? In your language. So what do I do for my own SEO? I produce content that I think I'm best placed to produce. So we talked about my newsletter. We talked about what I do on LinkedIn. We talked about what I do on podcasts. We talked about when I'm asked to give a talk somewhere. Go out there and talk about the one thing that you know more than anyone else. If you're an entrepreneur, you have 3 rules. One, you've got to be really passionate about it, because if you're not, you know this, right? It's going to be a soulless journey, right? 2, you've got to be really, really good at it. You've got to be the best in the world at it, or you think you're the best in the world at it. And 3, it's got to be commercially viable. You've got to be able to tick those 3 boxes. Okay. The second bit is you know more about it than anybody else. So therefore, talk about it, write about it, interview about it, go on podcasts about it. And you will get your SEO, and it's not going to cost you anything. And people go, I've never thought about it that way. That's really interesting. So, I do my bi-weekly newsletter, and anyone can subscribe to it. Just hopefully, if you're kind enough, Billy, give out my email details and they can email me, right? I'm not looking to sell anything. I'm just looking to say these are real business problems that I'm coming up across every day. This is how I would solve them. That gets me my content. That gets me my SEO. That gets me someone saying, hey, he's a guy that knows what he's talking about. Yeah. That stops me having to pay for pay-per-click or trying to get on AI chat and all that kind of good stuff, which is really expensive and time-consuming, because I know more about how to do it than anybody else does, or at least I believe I do. And therefore, I share my knowledge. Share your knowledge. You know more about stuff than anyone else. Don't hide that away. And that will get your SEO done, and it won't cost you a penny, other than time, which does cost you. But,
there's always an exchange. There has to be.
Yeah.
You can't just get everything for nothing. Yeah.
No. And I'll tell you something else, Billy. Sorry, one other lesson I learned. I was listening to a speech the other day by Roger Federer, the tennis player.
Yep.
And he said, do you know how many points he actually won in his career? That's a percentage. And it was 48%. But if you heard this, it was like 48%. And he said, you're going to have losses. You have to accept the losses. You're going to lose clients. You're going to lose business you should have won. You're going to lose clients you had and you didn't realize it was going away from you. As an entrepreneur, I would say you have to accept that and just learn from it and move on. His point was, once he loses a point or he wins a point, he moves on to the next point. Move on.
Yep. That's good. Talk to us about strategies that you don't do anymore. Like, hey, this is really not effective anymore. Doesn't really work. Stop. ROI is not there.
2 things. Spray and pray? Just try and do more and more activity and hope something lands. I think that's a really, really poor thing to do. I would really say to people, don't do that. You're just making it. People think about how much it costs, but what about, as we said before, the time to do all this stuff, right? So don't do that. And secondly, don't try and be everything to everyone. I talk about this with you. I sent you my profile and you said, God, you do everything. And I'm thinking, if I do everything, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong, right? Because you're trying to be everything to everyone. And that shows a little bit of lack of confidence in yourself. Just do 1 or 2 things really, really right. And don't worry about anything else, right? That would be my strong advice. So, that's what you do.
You just stick right to it. So that's pretty easy too. Like the pay-per-clicks, we still get fed that we have to do cold leads and we have to do things like that. Is there ever like a time where that will work? And will your focus on branding for businesses help at least, focus that messaging to make it at least a little bit effective?
Yeah, I worked in a business where they were doing cold calling, and 1 or 2 of the people doing it were incredibly successful. And part of that is because they had quite thick skin. They went from what, my point earlier about if someone said no, they just moved on to the next one. They also had a message to sell that was relevant, though. If I get a cold call, let me give an example. I get cold calls here in the UK. I don't know if you have this where you are. And it's mobile phone companies saying, hey, why don't you use our mobile phone? And I'm thinking, we have contracts here. So you have like 18-month, 2-year, 3-year contracts with your mobile phone provider. Quite difficult to get out of it. They don't phone me when my contract's up for renewal. What they should do is say, I'm not trying to sell you anything at all, but could you just tell me, when we do mobile phones, you're probably in contract, out of interest, when does your contract run out? And I'll say, 9 months' time, and they'll go, fine, no problem. Then we'll give you a ring back in 8 months' time, and we'll have a chat about it. Okay? That's a sensible approach. As long as you're nice and friendly, and you're like, look, I'm sorry to disturb you, but this is what I do, and we feel we're really good. We feel we have better network than anyone else, but now's probably not the time. Tell me when is the time. Instead, what they do is they ring up and go, we're from this mobile phone provider. We're really good. They give me a list of product features. Why don't you buy from us? Because I'm in contract for another 9 months. Right? Don't phone me again.
That's so much easier. Yeah. That makes sense.
You think about the person at the other end of the call. Just all I want, I'll ask permission. Say, look, Billy, I'm not trying to say you anything, but I do a newsletter about marketing tools. Do you mind if I send it to you every couple of weeks? If you don't like it, just unsubscribe. Most people will say, yeah, that's fine. Now, that's better than me saying, I sell marketing services, I make you money, sign on the dotted line. Everyone's going to go, whoa. Just be clever. Do the cold calling, but be clever about it. Put yourself in the position of the person on the call.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's practical. Love it. All right. So it's easy these days to be all things for all people and do all the stuff. You have AI. It's so easy to be so hands-on that we can find ourselves working like long days, till 12 hours, 14 hours, crazy days. What kind of things do you do to help kind of avoid that burnout and kind of recharge yourself?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, Billy. I'm going to be honest, right? You're probably asked the wrong person. But let me tell you what I did before we got on this call today. Yeah? The sun is shining here. It doesn't happen that often. I took my 2 dogs out. I have 2 little mini dogs, right? And we went for a walk. We went for an hour and a half walk. I did about 13,000 steps. We're a bit stepped. We count our steps in the UK obsessively. I don't know if you do, right? Over where you are. But there's this sort of steps. And I go out there and I listen to a football or soccer, as you would call it, podcast, and I listened to a bit of music on the way there, and then on the way back I turned everything off and I just listened to the nature and the world, right? That was my most productive 2 hours of my day, because it gave me a bit of thinking time. It allowed me to be me. It allowed me to get them out, and so they've done their walk for the day. So that's not wasted time. That's the most valuable time, because it gives you perspective. I promise you, Billy, I felt better when I got in than when I went out. I felt more energized. I felt more active. I felt more productive. So people think if you're working, it means you have to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. I could not disagree more.
Yeah.
Go and have a guitar lesson. Go and do what you do. Well, whatever your passion is, just go and watch a documentary.
Are you one of those guys that has to set some time aside because that's where all the good ideas come from?
100%. And here's another little thing, and I say this to my wife all the time. If you don't put the time in your calendar, it doesn't happen, right? So if you want to go to the gym and you wake up tomorrow and you say, I'm going to the gym, put in your diary, 10 a.m. to midday is my gym time, and treat that with the reverence you would treat any other meeting. But if you wake up and go, I'm going to go to the gym today, I can guarantee you will not go, right? This is not me. This is what's his name? James Clear, Atomic Habits, right? He talks
Atomic Habits, yeah.
Right? And also make it easy. So I say to my wife, if you're going to go to the gym after work, put the gym bag in your car and drive directly from work to the gym. Because the minute you come home and you go, I'm a little bit hungry, or I want to be with you, or I want to see the kids, man, it's gone. Yep. It's gone. And then you're going to get frustrated. So make it easy for yourself.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. That is a great book. If any of you haven't read that book, make sure you do it.
Brilliant.
Like, my gym clothes are actually sitting by the side of my bed. It drives my wife nuts because it's a mess. It's a mess. But I have no excuse not to get up and put them on and go to the gym. Like, I just don't, because they're right there by the bed every day. And so I'll put up with the wife's complaining about my mess in exchange for being healthier. It's the trade-off.
100%. No, 100%. So I worked for the last company I worked for. They were very good at this. They didn't really care where you dialed into meetings from. People would be walking in the park and dialing into meetings. I loved it.
That's awesome.
I just thought it's really good, right? Why do you have to be sitting at your desk? I mean, some meetings you do. If you do a monthly business review of the client, you're not going to be running after the dog in the park, right? I mean, but if you had an internal meeting and it was a one-to-one, and I said, hey, I'm just going to sit outside today because it's really nice and I prefer to do it there, why don't you do that? Seriously.
Awesome.
Can do.
All right, so another wonderful discussion. I love how practical it always is with you. Like, it's just so straightforward and it's just so common sense. And it's just, you can work with any level business, small, medium, and large, because the practical solution's there for all of them. And they just have to hear it from somebody else sometimes. And then, like I said, sometimes these businesses are in the woods and they just need Richard, Forrest Ranger, Levy. So, sir, talk to us about your business and how people get hold of you.
So my business is Sophia Marketing, SOPHERA Marketing. The website is Sophia Marketing, SOPHERA marketing.co.uk. I'm on LinkedIn, Richard Levy 1 with the number 1 after me, because someone got there before I did, so they took the first one, so I had to put a 1 next to me. And I tell you what I'd love, Billy, if people follow me on LinkedIn or connect, and I post probably 3 or 4 times a week about marketing and how to grow businesses. If you agree or you disagree, just tell me you don't agree, and we'll have a lovely discussion about it, and we'll debate. I find LinkedIn is increasingly polite, where everyone goes, yeah, I agree. Oh, great point. It's much more interesting when someone says, actually, there's another angle to it, because I want to learn as well. So I put this post up to try and educate others, but equally, we're all here to learn. So if you have a different view on it, if you want to subscribe to my newsletter like Billy does, just email me, say, add me on. I'll do that with great pleasure. It goes to about 1,200 businesses, entrepreneurs, founders. I think most people find it quite useful. So if you want to do that, please do. And then maybe, Billy, you know, we'll do a 3rd series. We've done 2 series of this now. This is the second time I've been on. Maybe in 6 months' time, we'll be on again, and we'll talk about something else.
That's it. As things keep changing, like marketing doesn't sit still, does it?
No. Or maybe we'll do it from London, over a drink and a pretzel.
There you go. I'm in.
We
can do it from, we'll do it from the pub. I'm in. I am all in. Let's just do it from the pub and grab a Smithix or 2, and then I'm in. Let's do it.
Let's do it. It's a deal. It's a date.
All right, sir. As always, we appreciate your time, your knowledge, and your help. And thanks for being on the show today.
Loved it. Billy, thanks for the invite. Loved it. Really did.
And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals.